To approach this topic, it is useful to have a standardized definition of what society sees masculinity as. This makes it much easier to identify if characters are being portrayed as masculine or not. Merriam-Webster defines masculinity as having qualities appropriate to or usually associated with a man, which is not that useful on its own. After looking at several online sources of varied reputability, I found that society defines masculinity, in essence, by three key traits: bravery, independence, and aggression. The first film I'll be looking at is Avatar. In the film, the military are very clearly portrayed as masculine, being excessively brave, independent, and aggressive. Jake cannot be a part of this, as his disability stops him from being able to physically contribute in any significant way. Through this, the film sets the precedent of disability and masculinity's incompatibility from the beginning. On top of this, the film juxtaposes disabled human Jake against able-bodied Na'vi Jake. Disabled Jake is not independent because he is constantly taking orders from others and is treated as a pawn. Also, the path his life is on was not chosen by him. He's only there because his brother passed away. Na'vi Jake, on the other hand, is free to do just about anything. He can learn the ways of the Na'vi and explore their world as he pleases without anyone telling him what to do. He is almost completely autonomous. While human, Jake does not do anything brave on Pandora, but Avatar Jake performs countless courageous acts, most notably capturing a Turuk to become Turuk Makto. The same goes for aggression. We do not see human Jake do anything aggressive on Pandora, while Na'vi Jake lashes out in aggression several times throughout the film. Upon examination, it is clear that the able-bodied version of Jake is portrayed as masculine, while his disabled counterpart is not. The next film I'll be looking at is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. While this film features many disabled characters who display various amounts of masculinity, Billy reveals the most about how the film feels about the relationship between disability and masculinity. Throughout most of the film, Billy has a significant stutter. During this time, his character passively follows McMurphy, not showing any signs of independence, aggression, or bravery. This changes when Billy has sex with Candy. This act of sex is definitively masculine, and after completing it, Billy's stutter is gone. When Nurse Ratched returns and threatens to tell Billy's mother, his stutter returns. At this point, Billy is not masculine, for he is not independent, because he is clearly dependent on his mother and how she feels about him. He is not brave, because he is afraid of how his mother will react. And he is not aggressive. Instead of trying to fight back against his mother and Nurse Ratched, he becomes upset with the idea of what is to come. After watching the transition Billy's character takes, it is clear that, while he does portray both a disability and masculinity during the film, the two character traits are mutually exclusive, enforcing the narrative that masculinity and disability cannot coexist. Next up is Shutter Island. This film features Leonardo DiCaprio as a detective named Teddy Daniels, investigating a missing woman at a mental hospital on an island. As the film progresses, it is revealed that DiCaprio is actually Andrew Laeddis, a patient at the hospital who invented the personality of Daniels to hide from his past. The incident Laeddis is hiding from was when he came home from a business trip to his wife having killed their 3 children. Laeddis then killed his wife out of frustration and descended into a mental breakdown that led to his split personalities. When his family was intact, Laeddis was completely able-minded, but, with the loss of his family, paternal role, and, in effect, his masculinity, Laeddis acquired a mental disability. While Laeddis experiences disability and masculinity, the two never coincide. At the end of the film, Laeddis breaks free of his detective personality, but it is explained to him that if he returns to it, he will have to get a lobotomy.
The warden and the board of overseers are determined something be done. It's been decided that unless we can bring you back to sanity now, right now, permanent measures will be taken to ensure you can't hurt anyone ever again. They'll lobotomize you, Andrew. You understand? Yeah, I understand.
Unfortunately, Laeddis does just that, or so it seems. When he is getting taken to get lobotomized, he asks his doctor,
"Which would be worse? To live as a monster? Or to die as a good man?"
This reveals that Laeddis is actually still able-minded, but he cannot deal with the trauma of the death of his wife and kids. Looking at the decision he made, he had 2 choices. He could continue on as able-minded, an act that would require independence, bravery, and persistence. Instead, Laeddis chose to become mentally disabled, which would result in him being dependent on others and not courageous or aggressive. With this final line, Shutter Island manages to imply the incompatibility of disability and masculinity at its close. The final film I'll be looking at is Shrek. During the film, the characters of Shrek and Lord Farquaad are pitted against each other, as the two are both romantically interested in Princess Fiona. Shrek is able-bodied and is depicted as being brave, independent, and aggressive during his mission to retrieve Fiona from her castle, defeating a dragon in the process. These qualities are also on display when him and Donkey are fighting for the right to rescue Fiona. Lord Farquaad, meanwhile, is physically disabled on account of his short stature. He wants to marry Fiona, but instead of going to rescue her himself, he has a contest for adventurers. The winner of it gets the privilege of going to rescue Fiona from her dragon-guarded castle. This is one of the least brave and aggressive ways Lord Farquaad could go about this. It is also not independent, because he is dependent on others to succeed in his quest for Fiona.